Well, I was really, really a wild young woman, and I was thinking about who was the most exciting man of the time. And so I thought about three things. I thought, oh, this will date me, but I thought, well, the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, but he was assassinated. And then I thought, well, you know, the guitarist, Jimi Hendrix, like, he was really, really wild, but he died, presumably, of an overdose. So then I heard about this guy, Timothy Leary. And how I heard about it was that there was a song, and this band called the Moody Blues, and they sang this song about Timothy Leary and how he went up and down the California coast and he would turn everybody on. And, you know, at that time I'd smoked hash in Morocco, and I had had a few LSD trips, really amazing interaction with trees, with my own vein system, with my own body, and I thought, well, maybe this guy has something to teach me. So it was strange because, and at the time he had written several books and he was very, very famous in the United States, and I was in Europe, and I just set out to meet this guy. And how did I set out to meet this guy? Well, it's like everything has been in my life. As soon as I made the intention that that's what I wanted, the series of coincidence went into place. And if you want to hear about the amazing coincidences that happened so that I could meet this guy, you read my book. You read my book, which will come out soon. But the point is that at some point I did make an appointment with the guy. He was 56 years old, I was 26, and I met him in a cafe in Switzerland. And he was a fugitive from prison. In other words, I mean, how many people are you going to meet in your life that are called the LSD Pope, or the Pope of LSD? And so anyway, I mean, this guy, he's supposedly the Pope of LSD. He's been a guru, which in those days I didn't really know what it was, but I knew it was something really fizzy and exciting. And he's a fugitive from prison. In other words, he's escaped from the most fierce prison system in the world, other than Russia. We're talking about 1973, and he's on the run. Now, I'm 26 years old, and the most interesting, exciting thing to me in the world is to be an outlaw. I'm sure there are a lot of people nowadays who can still relate to that. So I'm an aspiring outlaw. I'm kind of a French debutante. I'm kind of a jet-set society girl, and I am meeting a fugitive, an outlaw, a guru, and the Pope of LSD. Well, as soon as I met him in the cafe in Switzerland, I fell in love with him. Now the big thing was he going to fall in love with me? I mean, in other words, he was the alpha male of the time. And in those days, that was my preoccupation, was to meet the most eccentric alpha male around. So anyway, I went back with him to his house, and we took massive amounts of LSD. And in the morning, we declared to each other that we were each other's perfect love. And so I was ready to embark on this adventure with him. Of course, I had no idea what it would entitle or whatever it's called, but I knew that it would be really exciting. So I have to explain. We're going to do several clips about this, and because I really want to tell this story. So this is just the beginning. This is just a little taste of the story that will continue on YouTube with my trusted cameraman and producer here. And if you listen in, we'll do several, because of course we don't want to bore anybody. So anyway, I've got this guy, Timothy Leary, in my pocket. And we're off on this adventure. And he's got this fabulous yellow Porsche, and we go off into the Swiss mountains, but we haven't made love yet. And first of all, I'm in love with Timothy Leary, but secondly, I mean, what is it going to be like to make love with a guru, an American guru? So we go to this beautiful, beautiful hotel in Switzerland up in the mountains, and we ski all day, which is really exciting. And then in the evening we have this beautiful champagne dinner in our suite, and this man, who's supposed to be this really eccentric LSD man, first of all, he's dressed like a college professor. He's got these round-rimmed glasses, and he's just wearing a white shirt with an old cashmere sweater and these velvet, these corduroy pants, and he's carrying a Samsonite briefcase. I mean, what is this? And very carefully, when the energy of making love starts to become intense, he opens up the Samsonite briefcase and he pulls out a Life magazine. Now, many of you don't remember what Life magazine is, but it was a magazine of the time that had amazing photographs and photographers. And he opens it up at these pictures, which were the first pictures of the human brain, inside the human brain, of the human brain. And he starts showing me all these areas of the brain, and he starts telling me that that's where, other than the obvious places, this is where he's going to make love to me. I mean, it was extraordinary. And then he pulls out this amazing gold ring, which was an old Indian ring, and with these two tantric partners in embrace, with their legs around each other, and he slips that ring on my finger, and then from that Samsonite briefcase, he pulls out a tarot deck. And from the tarot deck, he pulls out this card, which is the Wheel of Life. So here we are, embarking on what he calls the Wheel of Life. And slowly, slowly, we go over to the bed, and we do what many of you do, and sometimes many of you do it with great ecstasy and pleasure. And that is what happened that night. And there's so much more to tell, because later we get kidnapped by American federal drug agents in Afghanistan, and that's quite a story. And we become the first extraordinary rendition in the history of the United States, except we're brought back from Afghanistan to the United States. Tune in, you will hear that story.